My Germans don't believe in the letter S bit, which is totally fabricated and has no place in reality and existence.
You mean the Germans who use the letter S all the time?
The German.
The German.
Or they just replace S with Z's.
Yeah, it's just how they pronounce them.
No, it's just Z's.
I don't think they actually, Germans, yeah, I don't know.
They have 2 Z's in their alphabet. It's still 26 letters. They just put Z in there twice because it's doubly important.
It is pronounced Z. Z. It is 2 Z's every time we spell it.
Yes.
We spell it with 2 Z's.
Yes, it's Y-E-Z-Z.
They got it all mixed up. It is not the SS, it is the Z.
That always pissed me off that they did this.
You put extra S's in,
yes,
in this.
Yeah.
And this is the way that we will do this. And
this is the whole podcast.
We will do the whole thing like this, and then at the end we will murder each other.
I would rather put you in a concentration camp.
Yes. Well, it will help me focus.
Welcome to Fleeting Thoughts, everybody.
Yeah,
this is how we do this stuff now. We're just
gonna be on our phones for the next hour, and
I'm just not gonna look at you while we talk. I'm just gonna look at my phone and
you got a new phone.
I do have a new phone. It's amazing. I have the Note 4 now.
Samsung Note 4.
Yeah, upgraded from the S3, so I skipped ahead 2 generations, and it's incredible. I have big hands, and so
are you trying to show off? You fucking
how big my hands
want to fight about it?
But it's awesome. I can finally text without hitting multiple buttons. Because before, if I was texting really fast, my thumbs would hit multiple keys, and then my words would be all fucked up and crazy.
Crazy. You have some crazy words. You have to fix them before you send them out. It's a sick phone, man. It looks really cool. I love I have a Samsung S5 Active. The S5 Active, so it's water resistant and waterproof or whatever.
Have you gone swimming with it yet, just to test it?
No, but I went camping with my first one, and I broke the camera, the glass in the camera.
I remember that. It just magically something punctured it.
It was in my bag, and I broke it, so it cost me about $200 to get this one. And then I bought a sweet case for it so it wouldn't break anymore. But essentially, I ruined the waterproofing because I broke a glass. I broke the one.
It's true. I guess the moment it went in water, the camera would be ruined.
And then I would probably get into it. So, but it's a sick phone, and it works really well, and I've enjoyed it very much. Samsung does a good job.
Yeah, I'll have a hard time buying any other brand of phone from now on.
It'll be
I'll reach for it, and then my skin will start to burn a little bit, and then I'll just get the latest Samsung.
That's how you know they made a good product.
Yeah,
when you just really want it. Have you ever had an iPhone? Did you use iPhones?
I never did, no. My wife did, though.
You had a Windows phone, though, before.
I did. That was a mistake.
Yeah.
The operating system was pretty cool for the Windows phone because it uses that tile setup, which works really great for touchscreen stuff.
Right.
Problem is that there's no compatible apps for Windows because it's kind of a fledgling operating system for mobile devices. And so, really big companies would have apps for it, like Facebook and Twitter, but anything a little bit more obscure than that, and they typically didn't have an app at all.
Right, so. All those little fun games and cool.
Yeah, and so it kind of sucked. It's probably a lot better now because it's been around for a couple of years, but I'll never go back.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Microsoft fan, other than their computer software. Other than that, I just don't like much of their other stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess they do have, they have the Windows Office stuff and Excel and...
that stuff typically is pretty good. I'm sure there's some tech-savvy person out there who's like, Microsoft, please.
bitch, please. Microsoft, you don't even know about Linux, which I don't.
There was some other wildcat that they named an operating system after.
I guess Microsoft is coming out with Windows 10, which I heard is going to be more like Windows 7, so it's not going to have the tiles the same way.
I saw that they're doing free upgrades. For the first year, if you have Windows... Is it 7, 8, or 8 point whatever? You can just upgrade to 10 for free, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's supposed to be integrating that with the Xbox One, too, where you're supposed to be able to stream Xbox One games through your computer, because apparently playing them on your TV is not the cool thing to do anymore. It's better just to play it through your smaller laptop. I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it just gives people more options, and everybody's integrating all their.
Well, I think they're hoping that they'll start allowing people to stream their PC games through their TV, like using the Xbox One, like if you had games through Steam or something.
And they're trying to compete and become viable in that market with the PCs and everything. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know. They're always doing something new.
Yeah.
But I hate the Windows 8 tiles on anything. I think the whole thing is just annoying.
Well, luckily with on the computer, you can change the layout to like a more traditional desktop setup, or you can have the tiles. So at least they give you options.
Yeah, I'm still Windows 7, and
that's what I have on mine too.
Until my laptop breaks down, I'll just keep using that.
That's when I upgrade my operating system. Is when I upgrade my whole computer.
Yeah, it's kind of like
well, whatever's on the computer, that's what I'm going to use.
I'll buy a new car when my car no longer is functional as a car.
Yeah, when I take it to the shop and they tell me that it's this amount of money to fix it, and I can just spend that amount of money to buy a new car, and that's when it's time to get a new car.
The definition of totaled.
Yeah,
it's when it costs as much as the car's worth.
Well, but I think it only gets totaled when you're in a car accident. So
I'll just total it through
yourself. Just send a letter to your car insurance. Yeah, it's totaled now. I have certified it as totaled.
Yeah.
So give me money and I'll go get another one.
Maybe I'll just ram my car into something before I go to the next
There's probably been people who've done that where like their car is having serious issues and they just, whoa, there was a deer and I swerved off the road and hit this giant boulder.
Oh, whoops. It was a boulder and it came out of nowhere.
I missed the deer. That's why there's no evidence of its existence. It fled away into the woods.
And then you'd have to fake hitting something with your car. You'd have to actually hit like the boulder, I guess.
And just like go find a stray dog and cut its throat and splash its blood on your hood, and then
wow.
You gotta really sell it if you want it to be legitimate.
Yeah, they'll definitely investigate that shit. They'll probably do DNA and be like, "This is a." It'll be a German lady, and she'll be like, "No, this is a dog."
If they did a CSI show in Springfield, Oregon, that's the kind of cases that they would cover.
It's called insurance fraud investigators.
Oh my God, we tested the blood.
IFI.
It's not deer blood. And then he puts his sunglasses on. Commercial.
Yeah.
This is good. Last episode we came up with a whole Chinese restaurant with a pool table business scenario. Now we're creating a whole TV show, CSI Springfield.
This is a place of imagination where it runs wild and rampant.
Very wild. Very rampant.
Yeah.
Like the Black Death plague in the Middle Ages.
Very
rampant.
I heard that was pretty rampant.
Yeah, I mean, a couple people died.
Yeah.
Just a few.
I was listening to a really cool interview with a guy who studies geology, but also catastrophism, as in like meteor strikes and large weather changes that happen over short periods of time. I was listening to it on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was talking about like the end of the last ice age and how everything seemed to be flourishing during these times of like increased temperatures. So when the temperature was going up, then people were flourishing, and crop yields were better. They could grow more crops, and so civilizations would grow. And then right at the end of the Ice Age, I guess, there was a lot of something happened, and he thinks it was a meteor strike that struck like above the earth or in the iceberg or something, and created a ton of flash floods, and that took out a ton of people. I totally forget why I was starting this. What were we talking about?
We were talking about the Black Death and
the Black Death. So he was talking about how that was right before that was a period of major growth in population and in production of like farming, and then when the temperature started to cool right after this like meteor happened, or no, that was just in the 1800s or something. He was talking about how it relates to weather patterns and changes in temperature, like global temperatures, and how when temperatures go down, it's bad for people. Essentially, it's just sort of makes it harder to grow food and things like that. I don't know. It's just
I think that
kind of an interesting thing.
After X amount of time, someone's just got to come around and smack us back down
Yeah, that's the idea. Is that
it's just whoa, you're getting out of control.
Yeah. Well, it's nature. That's what nature does.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been around for
the great equalizer.
Over 100,000 years in the same general biological form, and so it's only been the last couple hundred that we've actually gone to space and taken over industries and created all these technologies and communications and internets and stuff. So what the fuck were we doing for 100,000 years before now?
Avoiding meteors and dealing with plague-ridden
Avoiding
rats.
them? Just like moving out of the way?
There's something coming from the sky. I don't know. Get down.
Yeah, so the idea is that essentially civilizations have actually grown to similar heights as we are now, but then in the far past, 12,000 years ago, and any evidence of their existence has been wiped away by the earth and by weather and by nature, and catastrophes are what caused the downfall of those civilizations. And it's ancient civilization theories, which I think are fucking very interesting.
Yeah,
I really like listening to that stuff. Graham Hancock has a whole book and he does a lot of research on that kind of stuff.
A lot of people are just waiting for something like that to happen again because we're. Scientists say that we're way long overdue for kind of a mass extinction of not extinction, that's completely gone, but kind of obliteration of our population on this planet. So
yeah, it could happen. I mean, who knows? I think a lot of people worry about economics crashing, but I think there could easily be some kind of major other kind of catastrophe. I think we're pretty lucky to have such a good consistent weather over the course of the last 2,000
it's been warm
years.
This year, and I keep forgetting that it's even winter. It's February, which is the heart of winter, and it's not.
Yeah, we didn't have much of a winter.
50 degrees most days or warmer. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I think everyone's waiting for the bottom to fall out and then it's to snow or something like that.
Let the groundhog see his shadow, because that's scientifically proven to determine the length of winter.
Scientifically, that groundhog.
Of course.
And it also makes it so you repeat the same day over and over again if you're Bill Murray.
Only if you're Bill Murray, though.
No, they made a movie. Did you not see the documentary called Groundhog's Day?
Oh, it's a documentary. Oh.
Yeah, it's about his
I never
life.
watched it because I thought it was fictional, so I had no interest in it. I'm not interested in fictional
no
things.
Interest in fictional? You write fiction, right?
How do you know? It's all autobiographical.
Autobiographical. Yes. You lived in the
my
kingdom in the sky.
Yes. And then I did battle with a spirit in my house, which is what I'm writing about right now.
How'd that go?
I don't know. I haven't finished writing it yet. I don't. I mean, of course,
the autobiographical part.
It's ended well. I'm here, so.
You'd be all right. Maybe you're alive. Possessed. I don't know. How would I know? Let me ask you something that only Channing would know.
But what if I had been possessed the entire time that our friendship existed? What if I'd been possessed for
then it wouldn't matter.
7 or 8 years?
It wouldn't matter.
You would have never known the real Channing.
No, it wouldn't matter to me because I like the Channing that's possessed. So right? I wouldn't want you to go back. That guy would probably suck. There's a reason. There's a reason you're better now. There's a reason I
was possessed, and it has been maintained for X amount of years. So, wow, this is getting out there. What's your word? What's your word for the week? Before we forget.
My weekly word is I was going to go with epistemology because it's a cool word, but I decided to go with ontology.
Ontology?
Yes, ontology. And I will look you up and read the prepared statement.
Oh, yeah? It's not the study for being on top of things?
on top of all of this shit. I'm on top of all this shit.
Somebody who's very proactive and doesn't procrastinate at all? It's not an ontologist?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. It's not it.
Well, that was
it's a good try.
That was me throwing my hat in the ring.
Use the word on. Yeah. You really latched onto that word.
I know. I just took on and then ology, and ology is usually the study of, and then I just on. On. What if it's the study of just being on things?
Being on, like planking and fucking sex and just.
I'm sitting in the chair. I'm on the chair. Mm-hmm. Let's study that. What does that mean?
I think we talked about the study of chairs the other day too. So I think you just like to study everything. They should do it.
They should.
So anyway, ontology is the philosophical study of the nature of being, becoming, existence, or reality, as well as the basic categories of being and their relations. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's a cool word. It's
I was
one
not
that
that far off, actually.
You're pretty far off. You were talking about physically being on something. There's a philosophical term about the nature of existence and being and like what is real.
Oh, so it's just like
it's kind of a form of metaphysics. Metaphysics is like what's out there, what's real. Science does a lot in the way of metaphysics. I think before there was science, there was philosophy, which was, there was like natural philosophy, and then metaphysics and science has kind of taken over a lot of that stuff. But ontology is still interesting because you can figure out, what, if things are real, if things aren't real, and why we can say that something exists, in reality or whatever. So.
Then you get in the conversation of what's reality.
Yeah. Well, that's part of it.
Oh, is it?
Well, your ontology, philosophical ontology would relate to what you think exists.
Oh, see, when you said
real.
it initially, like when you were defining ontology, I thought that it was a study of something absolute, like this exists for this absolute reason without. Well, that was just what it sounded like.
Absolutes are difficult because you can come with objective truths, but whether or not you want to say those are absolute or not, we don't have absolute knowledge and we don't have the ability to know everything about everything, so we're kind of in a state of ignorance and trying to lead ourselves toward more truth and more understanding. But ontology, you have your own ontological premises and notions, and you probably haven't thought about it particularly deeply, like a philosopher would. But and then you have, like I have, and then you could debate. You could be like, well, this doesn't exist. Like religions don't exist. What exists is a bunch of people who make decisions and have beliefs. But a religion is just a concept for what the people do, right? Or for what they believe. The word religion is not a thing you can touch, feel, taste. So you have the philosophy of objectivism, which is the idea of that we know the world and what is real through objective, empirical data, sensory data, mostly. Or sensory data we can get from tools like a telescope. So
makes sense.
I think that things are real and exist if they are empirically validated. Not tangible, because that's only touch. Something you can't touch smells, but they exist. There's a physical reality to them.
Yeah,
like the oils and
the little poo matter in your farts.
Yeah, exactly.
The microscopic poo matter that gets wafted into the air.
Yeah,
with every.
So I thought that was a cool word.
Yeah,
ontology. It's one of the words that I always forget when I'm thinking of philosophy. I always think of metaphysics and epistemology, and there was the other word is ontology that I always forget. Those are some major categories of philosophical thinking, I guess.
The pillars of psychology. Philosophical. Not psychological. Philosophical.
It is philosophical.
It's the pillars.
The pillars of philosophy. And epistemology is how we know things, how we gather knowledge, how we know what the nature of knowing. I think that's what it is. Like, how do we know? Like, what is the process to get to the point where you can come up with an ontology? That's also part of objectivism and stuff. Yeah. I don't know. But anyway.
Words. Feelings. I don't know. I don't know what you want from me.
No.
It's like a quiz, and I didn't get to study at all. It's a pop quiz.
It's not that you didn't get to. It's you chose not to, and you didn't know there was a test.
Exactly. I was not aware that there would be a quiz on epistemology at all.
Well, I sent you a memo 4 years ago.
Who sends memos anymore?
I sent you a memo before you were possessed by the ignorant.
Well, that's not my fault.
Beast inside yourself.
The
now.
Ignorant beast.
Yeah, the one who doesn't know things that I expect them to know. Anyway, What's your word, Holmes?
Holmes. That is my word.
What's your word, Holmes?
H-O-M... Oh, I guess...
H-O-L-M-E-S? That's
like
the name.
Sherlock?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Holmes is my word.
Holmes?
H-O-M-E-S.
You got a fucking word for me?
Essay?
Essay, you bring a word or what?
Yes.
I asked you
do
a
have
question.
a word.
Good luck pronouncing it, man.
I know. I'm like, I have to look at the pronunciation guide. It's a monster. My word of the week is Brobdingnagian. Brobdingnagian.
That sounds horrible.
It's
sounds no fun to say.
I know. I'd never heard of it till about 15 minutes ago.
Brobdingnagian.
Brobdingnagian.
All right.
Which means of huge size, gigantic, or tremendous.
Mm-hmm. So you would say maybe my penis is
Brobdingnagian.
not Brobdingnagian.
That could just be the name of a porn, actually. Just Brobdingnagian.
Mm-hmm, just huge, big stuff.
Yeah. It would be like a caveman porn, because that sounds kind of cavemanish.
Sounds messed up.
Yeah.
So what the hell is that word? Why? Where did that come from?
It came
Explain
from
yourself.
it entered the English language in the mid 1700s by way of Jonathan Swift's novel Gulliver's Travels. I don't know if you ever read that. It's kind of an American.
I don't think I've ever read it. I've just watched like all the little movies and things that they've made.
But that was kind
and
of
I was
its
satisfied
inception.
with those.
Were you just
There's little people.
the little
then,
people? Isn't it the people that lived in the shoes or something?
Lilliputians. Isn't that what they call them?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not terribly
I think
familiar
they did
with
live in
old
shoes.
Jonathan Swift.
So if they're so small, never mind. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to try to explain anything I don't know about. I mean, that particular thing I don't know about.
Well,
So yeah, good word.
Brobdingnagian.
I'll spell it out in the show notes for this on the website. The Libsyn page.
Libsyn, dog.
Libsyn page. Did you do your taxes?
I did.
Yeah. Were you happy about that?
No, I knew you wanted to bring this up. No, it sucked. It was like it was.
Don't use anything too specific. I don't think we should get too specific.
Oh no, I know. But doing taxes, at least in my time of doing them since I was fucking 16 and had a job.
Yeah.
It's never been terribly exciting. A couple of years we owed way too much for various reasons. I don't even know why. But this year it was not fun. I did not enjoy it. It's upsetting to work 40 hours a week all fucking year and then pay the government thousands of dollars all fucking year and pay on your wife's student loans thousands of dollars all fucking year and then do your taxes and then find out that you somehow still owe the government thousands of dollars at the end of the fucking year.
Yeah.
It's very upsetting.
Yeah.
And frustrating and annoying and
you don't really have any way to really there's no justification. It's not like they don't like spell it out like, okay, your money went here, here, and here, and then we forgot to charge you for this fee, like that you got advantage of. Like you drove on the roads this much. You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
There's nothing practical about it. It's just an arbitrary like percentage, in different categories and part of your income and all that.
I think that there's no reason why they shouldn't have figured out a system at this point in time after the fucking almost 250 plus years this country has existed where you pay your taxes and then you just balance at the end of the year. Why do we have to file taxes? They're just take my money every 2 weeks like you always have been doing and then we'll just call it square. Like I'm paying you to do whatever it is you're doing with all this money.
Not arrest me.
And then essentially it's like I can complain about it, but realistically I'm just going to turn around and just have to keep giving you my money. It's not an option. But I don't understand how we haven't come up with a system where we don't have to file and we don't have to owe or be paid back. Like why can't they look at you're married and it's just you and your wife. Like I understand like the process of filling out an I-9 where you're like, oh, I'm married and like I have, I'm married and I have these kids. So then they have like an idea of your situation, and then you would update that if you got divorced or separated or somebody fucking died, who knows. And then just base your taxes off of that and how much you make, and then just make it a flat rate, and then at the end of the year you just fucking roll right over into the next year. Like, who cares? I don't understand why we don't. I'm sure somebody would probably, who's studied economics and government, would probably have a very specific answer for that, but I don't know. And it just seems like an arbitrary process that's really frustrating to deal with. And I think what really pisses me off the most is that there's...
Can you say grinds my gears?
What really grinds my gears is this the fucking people... So the people I see typically who are excited about tax season are the deadbeat white trash motherfuckers who have like 7 children, and they're going to just get tons of money back because they don't work. They're on welfare and they have a lot of kids, so they just get ridiculous amounts of tax breaks. Those are the people that are like jazzed when tax season comes around, because it's not tax season for them. It's, I'm just going to get like a $4,000 check from the government because I exist and have children and I'm a piece of shit. Whereas the rest of us who are working and contributing just have to contribute more, I guess, is the moral of that story. So that just annoys me that there are people who they shouldn't get any fucking money. Fuck them. They're not paying for anything. They're not paying taxes. If you're on welfare, they're not like, we got to tax your welfare. No, like the welfare comes from the taxes. So they're just taking the money that I'm pooling in and you're pooling in and anybody who has a job is pooling in. And then they get paid additional money at the end of the year because they're an idiot who had children.
Do they have to file taxes if they don't make a certain amount of money, though?
I don't know. I would have to be on welfare.
Because I think you have to make a certain amount of money before you're actually going to have to pay taxes. It's a very low amount of money. Yeah. And then I think eventually, if you have a job, you're getting income tax, and you probably do get a lot of that back because they're pulling it out month to month, a very small amount probably, and then they have to figure out your living situation and how much welfare you're getting or how much food stamps you're getting or something like that. I don't really know. I've never filed with such, like, in a poverty status or with like where that was part of how I lived or whatever. So I don't really know that process. I do know that welfare obviously is them just taking money from people who do work, and that sucks.
And giving it to people who don't.
Yeah, I don't like when I get taxes back, and to me, it's just that they're just giving me back my money that they stole from me, like in a small amount, which I think for the most part, most people get money back, and I think there might be a system, it might be in place to kind of give people some measure of like surprised happiness, like it just kind of just it just makes people feel good to get a little bit of money back, and some people don't get money back, so that's really frustrating. But I don't know the system, because it seems like if I'm paying a particular income tax rate, and that's the rate going, I don't know. I don't really know. I think the I-9 has something to do with it, because if I say I'm not claiming any dependents, then I'm paying a lot. I'm paying a lot more out every month. But if you're claiming a bunch of dependents, you're getting more of your paycheck. But that doesn't take into account the actual rate at which you should have been paying. That's you choosing to get more or less for the week or for the month. And so by the end of the year, they say, okay, you made this much money. This is your tax rate. We need that much money. You may not have paid that much throughout that time. And your tax rate is based on your income, level. There's tiers. And then taxes are crazy. I mean, there's businesses who pay barely any taxes, investors who pay almost no taxes, and there's small businesses which pay a ton of taxes, and then the middle class pays a ton of taxes, and then you have the people under the poverty line that get a shit ton of subsidies and welfare stuff, and that's the system that everybody voted for. So it's fucking lame. But I don't think I think it's lame. I think either, like, if I do, like, I don't want to have to do my taxes. I don't want to do homework. Like, I'm not, like, you didn't ask me if I wanted to do this, so why are you having me fill out a form? Like, just you know everything about me. You know my job. I'm not gonna claim money that I don't have. I mean, a lot of people don't get income tax, like independent people or subcontractors or whatever. So they have to keep track of how much money they make throughout the year, and that makes sense that they would have to fill out a form because the government has no idea how much money they made.
Yeah.
And then they have to keep records so they can get audited. So, doing it all on your own would be, difficult.
Oh yeah, if I didn't have like a very like normal like hourly job, I would probably just like have somebody file my taxes for me because it's just so I couldn't imagine how much more complicated it is at that point.
You have an accountant who helps you or whatever, but like for me, mine is so simple. I fill out like 4 numbers in a form on the internet, and that's about it. I get that that's easy, but at the same time, I don't think it's necessary. I think they can just be like, "Hey, here's your money. Like we figured it out." Dude. Yeah. Hey, Joe, we got all your info. Like we know who you are because we're the government and we know everything about you enough to like take your money. So here's, $500. Thanks for playing. Thanks for pass and go.
Thanks for paying your taxes all year. Here you go. Here's your bonus.
Yeah, or whatever. I don't know. I mean, it's all complex and convoluted, and we don't have a lot of options. So it definitely sucks to pay all that money out and be like, well, the whole point of the automatic income tax is that I don't have to do it because you're going to get your money before I get my money.
Yeah.
So why do you need more money? Explain it to me.
It just blew my mind. Like just being like, when you look at your W-2 at the end of the year and you're just like, Jesus, I paid $8,000-$9,000 in taxes this year
that I could have had in my pocket,
and then you fill out your taxes and they're like, "Wow, you owe us another $1,500." And you're like, "What? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, what are you talking about?
How could you need more money?
Yeah, like
who are you?
How am I supposed to live? Like, I have my own bills. You gonna pay my bills with my tax money? No, you're not, at all. No, it was very annoying and
Well, why do you think the education system is geared toward putting people in middle positions? Because we're taxed.
Yeah.
They need lots of people to get taxed so that they can pay for everyone who's getting the benefits of the taxes. They need a tax farm.
Yeah.
So,
well, like I said, all you can really do is piss and moan about it, and then
or move
keep doing it, or
different tax laws. But you'll always be taxed.
Yeah.
There are no free states where you're not being coercively forced to pay taxes.
I love working.
Not
just
yet.
To pay for other people to not work.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
I don't know. I think that's just I don't mind helping people. I don't like not having a choice.
I think that like the welfare program is great. Like it sucks if you have a family and then you get laid off from your job or something for whatever reason, and then you're out of a job for a little while you're job searching. It's cool to have like a program in place that helps you and makes so you don't like lose your home and shit.
Yeah.
But it's just those people that abuse it who just never get another job. They just I know people who
I think if it's there, people will use it.
Yeah.
It's not that they abuse it, it's an option. And why would you not want to take an option that's easy? If you can't make more money working for McDonald's or Walmart, if you can't make more money than you can make on welfare, why would you work to make less money? Right? Because you can't work that many hours, or you're not smart enough to move up in that position, right? So if a welfare is an option, it just makes sense that people would do it. It's not that they're bad, it's that they can't they have a hard time. They don't, maybe they are, you know what I mean? Like there's some dumb people.
I don't know. I
think there are people who are willfully taking advantage of it and know it. And then there are people who it's an option. It's been an option their whole life. Their parents might have been using some form of welfare, food stamps or whatever. And there's no one telling them it's wrong. There's no one going, well, that other people have to work hard so that you can do this. Well, there's no one who's going through that process.
Gives a shit about other people. If it's not you or people you don't fucking care. And
not mostly. And so if you can't make a lot of money in the marketplace because you're not particularly skilled and you don't even know what to do, then you just take advantage of the government. You're like, oh, well, I just have to fill out a form and I can fucking sit at home. if it wasn't an option, they'd have to do something else.
Yeah.
As in, if welfare didn't exist through the government and only existed through charities, communities, other means of helping each other out, which we've been doing forever. Welfare is not everywhere all the time, forever and ever. Mm-hmm. We've been doing all sorts of other things throughout the past, and it's just gone crazy. It's just a billion different things you can get money from other people, so you can do whatever you're gonna do. So
it's just like almost being punished for contributing. It's like how it feels sometimes, because I could just probably get my wife pregnant, pop out some kids. She could pop out some kids. I'm not gonna like pop them out physically myself. And then just live off the system. But I just
you wouldn't do that though.
Well, no,
you're not. You're smart.
Shitty person.
You have skills. You have. Most people want to work for their living. Mm-hmm. It's not that people don't want to work. It's some people don't think that it's in the marketplace that they can make the money. Mm-hmm. So they just utilize the system or whatever, or they're working their way up, or they really don't make a lot of money. So it's like, I don't know. I just don't think it should be an option. At least not.
I don't think so. Like they should have like a program to help people.
Well, there
like kind of like unemployment, where you pay into it. That way, if something happens to your job
like
suddenly,
employee insurance kind of.
And because even on unemployment, you only have so much of it, because it's based off of how much you paid into it, right? That's kind of how much you get reciprocated when you're.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how it works. I've never used it.
I thought that's how it works. Because that's kind of like one of your taxes is you're pulling into unemployment, so that if something happens,
right,
you have like this resource that
there are limitations as far as how long you can receive the benefits, and how much you can receive based on your previous amount of earnings. Mm-hmm. So like if you make, there's a limit to how much you can get in unemployment and how long you can get it based on your work experience. Yeah, which makes sense. You got to have a limit to that kind of thing, but there isn't a particular limit on how many babies you can have and how many welfare checks you can get. And they make these things where they have to like go fill out applications or whatever if they can, but it doesn't make sense for a mom with 5 kids to go get a job. Yeah, they can't. So their job is to have those kids. The problem is they don't have anyone supporting them, and in the past, the parents of that person or the local family or the church would help them. But now the government steals our money so that person can do that. Before, you could, but the consequences were much greater. Yeah. Obviously. I don't know. There isn't a technology that's going to raise your kids for you. It's just money and resources,
They have technology to make you sterile so you can't have kids that you don't know how to raise and
now we are definitely talking psychology. So this is where I wanted to go with this. So when will we start this program of the sterilization of the poverty? Actually, they have done that in America. They did it right before World War II. And like hundreds and hundreds of people were sterilized in a few different states by the government. Mm-hmm. They were people who, they chalked it up to, the rule was something about like people with disabilities. Mm-hmm. But what happened is that essentially any vagrants, any poverty people, they would just collect them up and then they would sterilize them. We sterilized, like this was eugenics in America was a huge thing. I learned about it in a genetics class. It's something you'll never hear about. You have to look for it. Mm-hmm. But like they told this story of this young girl who she had a baby. She couldn't take care of it, so it got put up for adoption, and she was very young, like 15 or something, and she was like, they did a trial and they just found her like mentally deficient when she was just a normal person. Mm-hmm. who was in poverty or whatever, like somebody left her, I don't know, it was crazy, but they sterilized her, and then it was this whole like they just got away with it. They wanted to use genetic modification. Mm-hmm. And that was before Hitler was talking about doing it. That was around the same time, right before World War II, that Darwin's ideas started to be used in a totally non-Darwinian way, which is just to manipulate genetics. But it doesn't. Eugenics doesn't work unless you do it to everybody. Mm-hmm. Unless you really fucking kill a lot of people, eugenics doesn't work, because genes people are adaptive. We will change. We will procreate, and there will be mutations.
We'll become asexual, and we'll just self-reproduce.
Dude, you want to talk about asexual? I talked to you about this before. Was the MGTOW stuff that I was looking into?
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, those guys are interesting. I've been trying to find more information, but the website, the MGTOW.com, is.
You should explain what the MGTOW is for people who don't know.
It's men going their own way. It's MGTOW, I think. Yeah, and it's just something I've heard about recently, and it's essentially men who are fed up with manipulative and societal stereotypes where you get married, you provide, whatever, and they don't like that, so they decide to cut off all ties to sexual relationships with women, for the most part. It's like the opposite of extreme feminism. It's like, extreme feminism is like anti-men, and then this is like anti-female.
Yeah.
So it's like
the male version of the extreme feminism.
It's just, I don't know. To me, it's like feminism. They're trying to get power. Yeah. And these guys are trying to get away.
Get away from the women who want power, essentially.
Yeah. It's an interesting movement. I don't really know how big it is or how logical it is. It makes sense if you feel like you're being manipulated, you feel like you've been used to try to stop that. Mm-hmm. But I think you still, when you're in a relationship, you choose to be in a relationship, and not all women are horrible using people. So
not typically.
No, I mean, there's some good people out there, and there's some bad people out there, and it's our job. It's your job as a rational adult to figure that out. And if you get fucked over, you either learn from it or you keep fucking yourself over. Mm-hmm. You're responsible for the people you're around and the people you choose to have in your life. So I think it's kind of like just like saying, I didn't have a good time and I'm leaving. It's like, all right, well, you're going to be, that's fine. You can do that.
Yeah.
You totally can go live by yourself for the rest of your life.
It's true. I don't make that choice.
I just you don't need to tell everybody, I guess.
And make a group and have a website and
try to get everyone else, right. All these men who've been hurt by women, to just give up on women. Eventually, if that actually was successful, we would just stop having babies, and that would be a problem too. So
not for a while. There's a pretty serious overpopulation issue.
I was watching a YouTube video, and this guy was talking about why women get freaked out about MGTOW men, and he was saying that it's because it's a blow to their ego, and because it sort of it signifies a rejection of the furthering of the human race, and women are scared of that or something. Mm-hmm. Without men. But I was thinking, you don't really need a lot of men. What you need are women. You need you could have 10 women and 1 dude, and the world will keep fucking spinning with humanity.
Just keep those kids separated.
Yeah. So I think they have a little bit more in the way of power, as far as if they all abstain, we're fucked.
Yeah.
But as long as 1 dude doesn't, the humanity will still go on. So it's kind of I don't know. I just thought the arguments weren't they were all emotional. Mm-hmm. They weren't any logical. If you feel like you're being abused, get the fuck out of you're an adult. You don't have to be in that relationship with that girl.
It kills me that people can't take responsibility for their choices and their actions. People just they want
to blame everyone. Yeah, they're a victim about everything. It's society. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. Oh, it's all women are bad. It's no, I don't buy it.
No, you're just not good at picking compatible people, and either learn from the people that you were unsuccessful with and try to do better, or just keep making terrible choices, or I guess go join MGTOW.
It's fine. I get it. Yeah. It's fine. I don't care. It's just funny. It's just I've thought about that. Oh man, it's hard to find a good person. It's hard to find good relationships in general, men or women. But it's I'm not going to just make a decision to never so if a good woman came across my path, too bad, because I'm now MGTOW.
Sorry, if you would have got to me 2 weeks ago, I would have been available. But,
I'm going this way.
I'm going to MGTOW now.
Everyone's going their own way.
Mm-hmm.
They're just using that as a nana boo boo. Men going their own way. Every man goes their own way. every woman goes their own way. Everyone's going their own way. We can pretend like other people are controlling us, manipulating us, and to some extent, we are limited with what we can do. But with the things you can do and the things you can control, take responsibility. You chose that shit.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to be around females, then that's fine. But that doesn't mean all females are fucking haters and gold diggers and stuff like that. I just don't buy it. Because I know women that aren't like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of shitty women out there, so you got to be careful.
A lot of shitty
men.
A lot of shitty of everything.
Yeah, everything shitty people. You know, morality is a thing we all like pretend like we know the ideal and we know what it is, and then we don't apply it to everything else. You know what I mean? Like we're all like, oh, fucking all these horrible people out there. But why is that? Why are there such horrible people out there?
Because government creates programs for them to continue to make terrible choices with no consequences.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some immorality and corruption in the government for sure.
Oh, of course.
I think it creates a
leadership system.
Well, yeah, as far as one that's controlling absolute is able to do things that the rest of the people can't, and is growing and its backbone is the, taxed humans who can't stop it,
I like this idea of sterilizing a lot of people.
Yeah, we can go back to that. I don't like that at all. I think that's horrible.
It's
for one thing, you can't do it. It's not. I mean, you would have to have the amount of money it would take to gather everyone up. And then how do you decide who can mate and who can't? And genes are not that easy to like some people have predispositions for alcoholism, autism. You would never be able to find the perfect specimen. That's like Nazism in a nutshell. Is like there is no perfect specimen, especially if you look at them from the outside. So even if you did, then we would want clones. But clones are, they're going to be susceptible to all sorts of horrible things. Yeah. So we need diversity. Genetics is all about diversity.
I don't even think that diversity, I'm not talking about, like, the idea of sterilization, not from a genetic standpoint, as far as, like, I don't like nut allergies. Anybody who's got nut allergies, you're sterile now. You just want we gotta eradicate that shit. I just meant, like, what if they adopted a sterilization system for people, so that they couldn't have 5 children and then pop out a new kid every couple years to maintain being on like a welfare program? What if they were just like, sorry, we're going to sterilize you and take your kids, fuck you?
Well, they could do that, but I don't think people would go for it.
Not at all. No, not the people taking advantage of the system. Everybody else who's like paying into the system. I don't think anyone
would go for it.
Oh, really? I'd be kind of tempted.
I think for one, you can't vote on that. It's like voting on slavery. It just doesn't work. It's not. I don't think you can go back. I don't think you can go backwards in like the moral, civilization. You can't go from, because that would be a horrible scene. Because for one, you can't stop people from having babies. If let's say you did create a sterilization system, it would create an underground of people who pretended to be sterilized, who hid from the government. You know what I mean? So we're not going to you're not going to actually accomplish anything. No. You're just going to create a ton of problems and more coercion and more negativity. What you have to do is fucking teach people to be rational, not give them complete, scapegoats for their responsibilities.
Well, and that's the problem. It's like
we can't stop the people who's already using welfare, to the disadvantage of everyone else. You have to educate and change society in different ways, and it's not going to happen
ever
tomorrow because we force people to not have babies, because then it's just
that's the problem. Is that you are like, we have all these freedoms, in quotations,
like to have babies,
and then there's a whole bunch of like scapegoat programs for people who make a bunch of terrible decisions and
but that's not
think
free.
Things through.
To be free is to be also free to deal with consequences and responsibility.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, if we're gonna have freedom, then make it complete freedom. Where if you have 5 kids,
I agree.
Then fucking figure that shit out. Like,
it's not my job.
You're free.
I didn't do it.
You were free to do this. Like, now you're responsible for that.
That's like the whole thing of people saying that kids are accidents. But that's just not taking responsibility. You had sex.
That's you choosing to do that.
The point of sex is babies.
Yeah.
You're fucking dumb. Like, I'm sorry you didn't know how to use a condom. or you used it and then you still had a chance of having a baby.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing, is if you don't let people be responsible because you have all these, handouts and free shit, and they don't have to rely on each other, right? Because before you had welfare in the way that it is, you would have communities, right? You would have churches or just communities and friends and neighbors that you would rely on. So if you lost your job, they'd help you out for a little while. You'd be, because you would have helped them out, and that would be the way it works. But now you can get married, you can have kids, you can divorce that person, divorce the next person, have more kids, and you don't have to rely on anyone. You don't have to do anything. You can just call the government up and say, "Hey, I made a mistake. Oops.
Help me, please. Give me money."
I think you just have to get rid of those programs and then people will naturally want to help each other. That's how it worked before the welfare stuff happened.
Yeah.
And charities exist right now. Charities, right? Mm-hmm. People are already giving to people. People want to help people. Mm-hmm. So if you give them a little bit more of their tax money back, they're more likely to spend that on charities that they think are useful, and then the charities would have to compete for their effectiveness and all that. But that's I don't know.
So the moral of this discussion is, if we're going to have freedom, it needs to be absolute freedom. And people need to be responsible for the decisions they make, no matter how good or poor they may be.
Right.
And
that's a bit of a difference.
That all rolls all the way back to my frustration with taxes, in which I support people who choose to continue to make poor decisions because the government lets them, by giving them programs to allow them to continue to making poor decisions.
Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Bam.
That's called a full circle. Wow.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, taxes in general, I don't know. I'm not a fan.
I guess I get taxes in the regards of of the upkeep of public places like streets and roads and libraries and whatever. I understand that, because who else is going to pay for that kind of stuff? And if everybody gets to use those things, then why not? Should everybody have to contribute a little bit to paying for the upkeep of that stuff? Mm-hmm. So paying taxes for that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. It's I drive and I like my roads to be, flat and not filled with fucking potholes that damage my car, etc. Things like that. But it's just those excess programs.
That's called the problem of the commons, where you have common use places, and if they're privately owned, then they aren't being upkept that well. That's the concept of it, is that these places are commonly used, and therefore everyone must contribute if they're going to use those things. So how do you solve that problem without taxes? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You would have to privatize it, and then you would have to have people compete over dollars, and you would have to have somebody own the roads. And we don't like that concept, because then we'd have to pay somebody to use roads. Right. Yeah. Through a program of, a voluntary...
It's like a Robin Hood situation where you got to pay the bridge tax to cross the bridge.
Yeah, something like that. Or you could just pay a monthly, yearly thing, and you just, now you have access to these roads and these things. And if you don't want to do that, then there are alternative routes. Maybe you have to take a longer route or something, but you don't have to pay as much, or other people own things. Or you could have common ownership, where the people who live in the community are paying for its upkeep, and the people who don't live in the community just get the benefit of
the community's kindness.
Yeah, just because other people coming into the town, they get benefits through tourism or just whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't know how it would work, but it's an interesting problem to solve if you're gonna get rid of taxes. But I think taxes go towards so much. I mean, there's maybe 10 things that we can all be like, okay, that's fine. But there's a lot of stuff that I don't want my taxes going to.
Yeah.
So, but I don't have choices.
It'd be kind of nice at the end of the year when you filed your taxes if they gave you an exact breakdown of what your money exactly went to and how much.
Revolt the second they did.
Yeah, because they would probably. I'm 75% of it probably goes to garbage.
You can look at budgets; it's all probably available. I'm sure you can look at a pie graph and it'll be like 5% this. It's really low in like public schools and like
Well, obviously because our public schools fucking suck. So
I know they've had public schools for like a long time, and where's the accountability? Who's saying, well, we're giving you all this money, we're getting poor results. The problem with the government is there's no alternative to the government.
Yeah.
When it takes something over. So you can pretend like, oh, well, we can all send our kids to private schools, but a lot of those get their money from the government as well, and they're much more expensive. So if you have an alternative and you don't make a ton of money because you're getting taxed out the ass, then you're going to just, go with the public school because it's cheaper. So it's not like, and then they have kids for 12 years, 8 years, 12 years, whatever, however long they're in school. And they're churning out people who have to go to college to know how to read and write, or whatever. That's kind of an extreme look at it, but they have them for 12 years. Do you know how much fucking work you can do in 12 years with a child growing who's interested in learning? You could teach them everything that they were interested in. I mean, I couldn't imagine with one-on-one attention, a kid could learn a ton of like a skill really well, a lot of skills really well. They could learn lots of different languages, but it's not one-on-one. It's not one-on-2. It's not one-on-5. It's like one on 40, 40. In a college atmosphere, it's one on 150 because they assume they all have the basics down. Yeah. But they're still not getting a lot of skills out of it. They're getting a lot of information.
And what sucks about that is you only retain that information typically long enough to take the test. And then after the test is over...
Is that how life works?
You forget most of it. Like, you'll probably retain some of the interesting things that you thought were cool, that, like, you took fucking space out of your brain to remember. But, I mean...
Yeah. Well,
most of it you just totally forget.
Is a complete indicator of why trivia is so popular. Because that's what we're taught. We're taught trivia. That's what we learn how to learn. Is trivia in school.
That's all tests are. It's just like a trivia game.
Yeah. That's why math, I think, is so hard for people, because everything else is trivia, whereas math is an actual rational calculation.
Yeah, it's a system.
It's a system that you have to learn the rules of, and then you have to apply those rules. And that's rigorous, and that's more scientific, and that's not what most of the other classes do. Most of the other classes just give you facts and you memorize them for the time being. But that's why, like, Jeopardy and the Trivial Pursuit games, and then there's a ton of games and things that are all just about ooh, I knew that, ooh, I knew that, I know this. But that's not wisdom, that's not virtue, or like you can, it's just a waste for the most part. And then you go to a job at McDonald's or at Walmart or wherever at a as a whatever, and you just do one skill.
Yeah.
That's what life is. Life is doing like one or two things really well. But in school, you do everything shittily.
Well, I think that, like, the education you get, like, through your elementary years, like, all those basics, like, the basic mathematics and basic reading, like, that's all, like, essential, and I feel like that's very helpful. It's when you get into, like, high school that you start to learn things that are trivial, or that you're never going to use again for the rest of your life. Like, I did, like, trigonometry and all these, like, crazy algebra stuff in high school, and I don't even remember how to do any of it because I never used it after I was done with that class. I mean, I didn't become like a scientist or anything.
That's wasted time.
Yeah,
Anytime
exactly.
you do studying one thing, you're not studying something else. So if you're forced to study one thing, then you're losing out. Because you're forced to, so you're not going to learn it as well. No one learns as well being forced to do something. If you put a gun to a person's head and you say, learn this, it's going to be very traumatic and they'll probably accomplish it. But after the trauma subsides, they probably, I don't know, that's a shit. That's a shit.
I'm trying to figure out what kind of schooling you went to yourself.
Like, I take it all back. That doesn't work at all. But you know what I mean. Kids don't learn particularly well when they're not passionate. Nobody really does. So
yeah. Well, that's why it's like our schooling system should, you should have your core classes through 8th grade or some shit. And then, like, from that point, you know what you're interested in and you know what you enjoy. And, like, that's when they should just take kids and put them in like programs, kind of like college, where you pick a major and then you take classes based around that. Like, I don't understand why they don't do that at an earlier age, because by the time you're 13, 14, you understand what you like and what you kind of want to do for the most part. Like, by the time I was that age, I fucking loved English, I loved writing, and I loved reading. I mean, once you know your basic mathematics and science and all,
I think the only problem I have with that is a lot of people don't know what they want to do by that age because they actually live in really horrible households. Mm-hmm. And so their actual concept of life is about survival, not this, ooh, I can do more with my life kind of concept. So I think we have to work on families and households to start off the life of people so that they're not at the age of 13 just happy to get away from their parents, just happy to like go smoke a joint in the thing. You know what I mean? So there's definitely, like when I was 13, 14, I didn't know what I wanted to do at all. I had no idea. It wasn't until I left high school that I was like, ooh, I'm interested in people. I'll study psychology. You know what I mean? I had no idea. And maybe I'm different than a lot of people. And a lot of people might have a passion like art or something like that. But I think throughout the years, for sure, we can nurture and get kids to find out what they love. If you ask a kid why they like something, ask them, do you like this? You give them some choices. They will discover what they love through that process. They'll have an option to not do things. You have to get rid of shit to get good at something or to be passionate about something. So I think the whole process just needs to start from beginning in the family, from early stages. And then, obviously, like reading and writing and math, that is easy for kids to learn when they're very young. They're very susceptible to that stuff. They're sponges. They'll take it up. It's once they learn that stuff, now they get to apply it to the real world. And that should start right away and all the time. It should always be this give and take of, oh, I really liked this. I don't like that. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to try this. And then you'll, as opposed to just, you're going to do that because we said you have to do that. Yeah. Then by the time you're 13, you would have probably already been studying things that you really like. And then you can go into apprenticeships or skill-based things or have already started those things. And then we have really skilled, passionate people who do all sorts of things that we need to get done because they see that people get respect for doing those positions, even if it's, menial jobs or whatever. If you have a janitor who really sees the benefit in what they're doing and they can impart that onto children and be proud of what they do, then we'll have janitors. It's okay. It's not like nobody wants to be a janitor. It's nobody wants to live in a world where janitors are looked down on as fucking dirt people. Really, like
I think that's the problem with a lot of those jobs is like the McDonald's and the Walmart and whatever fast food and like retail. Those jobs are typically like frowned upon. Like, oh, this guy works at McDonald's, like he must be a fucking idiot,
good person or something. But it's like if food is important. If we made an effort to like really explain to people how food works, how our bodies work, how biology works, then we wouldn't have McDonald's in the way that it is now. We would have burger joints, but they'd be run by people who really are passionate about burgers.
Yeah,
we'd all be excited about that.
You wouldn't probably have fast food restaurants. You would have like people who run their own restaurants.
Yeah, and they might do it really quickly because that's what the market wants. But you wouldn't have this state where I think now that we have the science and knowledge behind these things, we can start making that a priority in schools. Hey kids, this is what we know. We just have to teach them what we know and let them decide what they want to learn. And then kids will disperse amongst the marketplace when they as they grow. Yeah. And don't hide the market, don't hide money from them. Don't hide consequences from them. You know what I mean? Like, don't sequester them in their own little worlds and things like that. Treat them like, children. We just treat them like growing people who have a lot to fucking learn and a lot of potential.
But alas, that's not how the world works. Well, we're just in a standardized public school system where everybody is a cookie cutter thing that they got to go through, and they just have to take these required segments and pass these required classes to get this diploma.
And there's so many barriers to just striking out on your own that it's very scary. When you've been such in this completely told what to do world throughout your life, and then at 18 you're like, ooh, I can do whatever I want, but you don't know how to do whatever you want because the whole time you were led. You were following.
Well, and I think that's why a lot of people have kind of like an existential crisis.
Absolutely.
In like their early 20s, because you do spend like most of your whole life on like a plan. Like you're on
somebody else's plan.
You're on like this road that somebody's paved for you, and then you get to the end of it, and it's just like a forest, and you're like, I can go anywhere I want and see all these new things, but I don't know what I'm doing because I've had this nice paved road this whole time.
And, you're meeting a forest and you have a paper and pen instead of a bow and arrow or, a jetpack. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even have the tools to make it through the forest and find the road that you can make yourself or whatever. That's a really good metaphor. I like that. Because that's the problem is, we're told at one point, you can do whatever you want. America's the land of dreams, but there's no dreaming going on until you leave school.
Yeah.
It's like you just have to do all this stuff. There's no give and take. There's no control, like self-determination at all. So that's definitely a problem. I think that's,
Because I'm just now like out of the woods of that type of issue myself, because that's what's in the last probably 3 or 4 years of my life. Is it's scary not having like a, you gonna tighten that up?
Bad one,
probably. Or I just suck at possessioning it.
Possessioning
it. Yeah,
that's a good word.
I didn't possess it, so it does not obey me. But I lost my train of thought.
You said you were out of the woods.
Oh yeah, no, I just kind of figured out like what I'm doing with my life.
For sure.
Which is very stressful when you don't know, and I think some people probably never figure it out.
Yeah.
Or they figured it out so late that they kind of missed their opportunities, or they feel like they've missed their opportunities to see things through that they wanted to do.
Or they feel like they've done a great job and maybe they haven't done very much work. You know what I mean?
I think that there probably are some people who just had it fucking figured out, and they just went with it, and it worked out well for them. So but I don't think that's most people. I think that's a pretty small amount of people. Because I even know a lot of people who graduated college and then they're just like, I don't know why I fucking majored in that and got that degree. Like, I don't like any of that stuff that I studied. I thought I did, but I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
And it's like, that sucks. Like, that sucks that you spent, $30,000-$40,000 on an education that you don't really appreciate that much anymore or care about because it's not something you're really interested in the end. Which is probably the reason, I don't know. My wife went to school for like 5, almost 6 years, because she just kept changing her mind. She couldn't settle on she couldn't find that thing that just like really interested her.
Yeah.
She had like a couple ideas, and she would take a handful of classes in that field, and then would lose interest or realize that it wasn't what she thought it was. And,
for sure. But that's exactly what a system based on not helping people would do, is you would spend 12 years just being good enough to do a menial job, just any job out there, just any low-paying job. You'd be good enough to do that. So eventually you're gonna end up doing that. You're just gonna do your job, so you can be taxed and have a job. And then you're like, oh, I can go to college, I can do whatever I want, but I don't know what I want to do. Because throughout the last 12 years, I've been just doing what everyone else tells me. But I know there's a world out there. I just don't know that much about it. Yeah. Because I was wasting my time so that I would be just good enough to get the shittiest jobs out there. But now I have this open field, but I've just spent, you know what I mean? So now you almost need another 12 years. That's why I think 30 is the new 20 in the way of personal development in general. And that's completely just me personally. Like, I feel like for myself, that's the case.
I can see that, because we live to be a lot older now. I mean, back in the day, if your family was farmers, that's just what you did. Like, you didn't have any choice, really. You just tended the farm and or did whatever else. But now it's not like that at all. And so I could see that kind of being true, that
like you spend, you're 18, you graduate, you just wasted a ton of time, and then you have another 10 years. That's 28. So by the time you're 28, now you're like, you've had enough time on your own. You've had struggles. You've had that time to like really fuck up things. That was your actual education. Yeah. When you got to do your own stuff, you got to research what you wanted. You got to go to college, blah, blah, blah. but it takes so long because you wasted the formative years of your life. The literally like the developmental like nexus of your life is from 0 to like 15, and then you have a little bit more year of growth and really getting all those concepts down and really applying them when you're older. But if you haven't been doing that, and I think some people do that, I think some people really have focused throughout their whole lives. They've had programs and things, and they've really focused on things, and then they achieve all sorts of great things. But then you have 30-year-olds, and I know 20 to 30-year-olds, and even up past 30, that are so immature because they're like kids who never grew up because of everything that led to where they're at there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's part of it. I think that's what happens with the maturity level when you are being handheld for the majority of your life till you're an adult, and then you're just let go of. You are still an immature, needing help. You know what I mean? Like, you just still are very, tenuous about reality and life and the world and society and economics and, where you fit into everything, that it takes a good amount of time for you to gather all of that real world knowledge. And really, that's just the case for me, I think. I can't really speak for other people. I just see people, and I think that could be the case for others. But, I feel like at 30, I'm starting over. Like, I'm really, I thought I was more mature for my age growing up. I think I was just less expressive, so I seemed like I had something going on. Like, I wouldn't talk very much, you know what I mean? So I think I was still really trying to figure things out. But I think I'm getting to the point where maybe I've figured enough out that I can at least move in a more deliberate way throughout life. And that's why I feel like I'm starting over in the last year. But it's great. I'm glad that I finally have some type of
you're like a butterfly. You just freed out of that cocoon finally, and you're blossoming.
I know. I'm like Blossom from the show.
The Powerpuff Girls?
That was
or something
interesting tangents we went on there.
Yeah.
Cool. I don't know.
I don't either.
I'm a pretty butterfly.
I think that was really...
What was the song you've been singing for me?
The end point.
Joe, you're a firework.
Oh, yeah, you're a firework, yeah.
That was fun. All right, anything else we should talk about? I think we've been probably around an hour.
Probably, yeah.
Ish.
Seems like that. It's probably a good ending point since we just ended that tangent.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks for subscribing, sharing, commenting, linking, LinkedIn,
stalking,
Twitter, Facebook, stalking. Stalkings? Yeah, I've got stalkers. I don't at all.
No,
that doesn't make sense.
We'll try to get you one. That'll be like a goal for
that'll
the year,
be the goal.
To get one.
Well, if we have a call in, we could get we could put like a old phone here, and then have people call in, and then
play Misty for me.
Play Misty? Missy Elliott?
No, Misty. It's a Clint Eastwood movie, anyway.
Oh, I don't know.
Where she's like a stalker lady. He's a radio DJ, and she calls in and wants him to play that song. Never mind. If you haven't seen the movie, then the reference is null and void.
No, I have not seen it.
Bummer.
Boomer.
Well, everybody, have a good night, and good luck with your future endeavors.